I am Kale Ravensfire, and you are listening to Ramblings with Ravensfire. As always, I'm joined by my lovely co-host,
Roxy.
And today, she wants to tell you, and this one might be multiple parts, but she wants to tell you today her ghost stories from childhood. In fact, it's about one particular house that she grew up in.
Yes.
And all of the very freaky things that happen. But this is Roxy. So if I interrupt her at the 10-minute mark, there is a reason.
Yeah. I can talk.
Yeah, you can.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. I was back in the late 70s, early 80s.
So before I was born.
Yeah. Sorry about that. And my mom was a single mom. She was a nurse. And so we didn't always live in the best areas of town because we moved to Los Angeles from the Midwest. And I was in like fourth, fifth, and sixth grade at the time. And we ended up moving to this weird little house in Hawthorne, which is right outside of Inglewood. Mm-hmm.
I have no idea of these areas you're talking about, so I don't know why you look at me and nod.
It wasn't the greatest area. But, you know, as a single mom, she was doing the best she could. But the problem was that she worked the 3 to 11 shift. All you nurses out there probably remember those old 8-hour shifts that they don't do anymore. And so we were pretty much latchkey kids. That was the thing back then. You know, I picked up my little brother and sister, took them home, made sure they ate, did their homework, put them to bed, and mom would show up at 12:30 in the morning every night, every morning after her shift. So I was pretty much it. And I think I was, all of 12 at the most. So this little house as a setup, I'll tell you how it worked. There was these long rows of properties, really skinny, with an old house, probably from the 1920s or earlier. And then they just built a block of houses behind them in a row with a long, thin driveway. So there was probably about 4 or 5, I can't remember exactly, of these little houses. Each one had a little tiny yard. Each one had a little garage. We shared our garage with the owner of the property, who owned this old clapboard, solid gray windows. There's dusted up with cobwebs. No one ever went in it. It was his family home. And that's what you looked at every time you walked out the front door, was the back side of this house. And it was creepy, But that's what we could afford, and that's what, and it was close to school, so we could walk to classes and stuff like that. So, but anyway, soon after we moved in, a lot of strange things started to happen. It started off very small. Little weird things would happen in this house. You would hear things like a drawer opening in the kitchen when you were in the bedroom or something like that. Or you would hear like something that sounded like a piece of silverware clattering on the floor, and you would go, and there was nothing there.
And it wasn't earthquakes?
And it was not earthquakes, because we were well acquainted with earthquakes by then. There had been quite a few, and you have a sensation of them when they're there. You can feel the air change. The birds get really loud, and then they get really quiet all of a sudden. And this wasn't anything like that. It was just really strange, odd sounds. Things would break for no reason. We lost the sliding glass door one day, but that was it. Just the one door, nothing else. And
now, when you say lost, you mean it just like it disappeared or it shattered?
Well, we were just sitting watching TV on the couch in the living room about 10 feet away, and all of a sudden it just went poof and shattered into 1,000 pieces for no reason whatsoever. It was just really strange. Like I said, every time you have a weird ghost story or a poltergeist situation or whatever like that, it always starts off small and then it gets worse. After that glass breaking, a lot of other strange things would start. And you had a valid thing about that, about the earthquake thing. So we had all of these plants because it was the 80s. So we were macrame heaven, and we had a cat. So, so we had this whole row of macrame plants hanging up. The spider plants and all of those that grow like crazy.
Well, yeah, because they were like an easy plant to grow. I
They
think
were.
everybody had one.
They
we
did.
even had one.
And then you just string them all between, all over the place because they grow, and you cut the babies off. And
my mom called it something else because, she's afraid of spiders.
Oh, okay, yeah. So one time we come home from school and we're doing the homework and, watching TV when we're not supposed to. And all of a sudden, all these plants started swaying. So the first thing I thought was earthquake. We'll jump up, get into the hallway, and no, it wasn't. It was not the hall. It was not an earthquake. Nothing was rattling. Nothing was moving. No one said anything. Yet all these plants are sitting here swaying back and forth and not in sequence. Some of them were swinging left to right. Some were swinging right to left. So,
and you didn't have like a overhead fan or anything like that going.
Nothing like that. And no car was driving down the driveway. Nothing at all like that would have caused it. And this was a little single story, little 3-bedroom, rental house. So it was very weird. Yeah, it was, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it was all these little bitty things that just started freaking you out. And then the weirdest part about it is that the back bedroom that my mom used as the master bedroom, it was always dark, no matter how much light you put in there. And our cat would not go in there. And my little brother, being a snot, because he was a snot, he was a horrible snot, he thought it was funny to try to open the door and throw the cat in and watch it race back out again, because it would go full fuzz tail back, just as fast as it could go, all the way back to the living room, as far as it could go from it. And if you did that, because he was a snot, and you closed the door, it would sit at the door and just scratch and howl to get out. Nobody wanted to go in that room. It was a horribly dark room.
And yet your mom slept in there.
Yeah.
That does say a lot.
The thing is that's
a different story.
Yeah, that's another part of the story, because that's where...
And we'll be getting to it.
That's where we started, was with this bedroom being really creepy and freaky. Where it ended was the fact that I did not know that my mom was getting into Ouija boards and stuff and doing weird stuff and talking to people with names that said we had some sort of burial ground in this area.
Now, disclaimer real quick. I'm not against Ouija boards.
Mm-hmm.
I've used Ouija boards. I will make a Ouija board and use a Ouija board. I'm not against them, but we also try to be responsible in how we use them.
But I found out she was actually having people come over, and they were talking, and she had names for these two entities that she was communicating with. And it was really, really creepy. And we were like, Mom, don't do this. Don't do this. This is really weird. And she's like, it's just a game, whatever. But it just made the house darker and darker, and stranger things kept happening.
And we will get into more of those strange things on our next podcast.
Yes, we will.
So this was just the lead in to let you know why Roxy is so odd. She grew up in a haunted house.
Actually, the haunted stuff always seems to follow me. Well, you too.
I was going to say.
So we have lots more from childhood. That's a lot of years. That's a few decades to go through strange happenings around the globe. How
old do you think I am? Remember, not your age.
No, I have an extra decade on you. So, hey. There's people that, and you can respond to this podcast too. There are some people that will have one strange story that sticks with them that was really creepy. There's other people like me who seem to serially attract strange happenings. And we want to hear from you guys' stories too, because we like to hear the crazy and weird and unusual, because guess what? We will believe you.
That is true. We will believe you.
We will believe you, because there is more.
And, on the Ouija board thing, I'll have to tell it because it was from Mom. And obviously she, can't tell me. So I'll have to tell Mom's Ouija board story, because...
That'll be a good follow-up.
Yeah, that was a pretty freaky one, too.
Yeah.
She remembered it for so long that she would tell me at least once a year. So, all right. Thank you for joining us today. Like I said, this is going to become at least a twice weekly podcasts and 10-minute segments, hopefully. So next time we'll be following up to find out more freaky things that happened to Roxy in this house. Have a good day, everyone.